At this point, I'm just about finished with all of the framing for the new addition, and hey, I think it looks pretty good. We've got the master bedroom up front, and nothing huge, but I wanted a small bedroom with a huge closet for Mrs. River. She's got a decent sized closet. And then I've got a small closet here for myself, which actually for me, that's a huge closet. But okay, and then right beside that, we've got the new bathroom, which it will be a bathroom. We're gonna have a large cabinet here, tub and shower here, toilet, double vanity. And then I've got my room, my future YouTube studio. Actually, this is going to be my gun room, and then large closet for it, which this is where I'm going to keep all of my editing equipment, because I'm going to do a lot of filming on this side. Okay, and then working on the back porch now and adding a deck back here. Once I finish that, that's going to take care of all of the framing for the house, which, hey, I'm ready to finish it, that is. Okay, now one thing I figured out doing all of this, and again, I'm not a carpenter, this was a huge confidence builder. And I think this is how our founders intended for us to live, was doing things ourselves, taking on challenges, and this just seemed like an especially important topic to talk about today, being this is the 4th of July. How many of you have seen Monticello? That was Thomas Jefferson's home, and it's absolutely beautiful. He designed it and built it himself. He was a very talented individual. He was interested in so many things, just like so many of the people of his time. Our founders, they were exceptionally smart and interested in so much. Benjamin Franklin, he was an inventor, pioneer, made a lot of progress in study of electricity, invented wood stoves, you name it. He just had his hands in everything. And actually, when John Adams was sent over to France to try to get support for America during the Revolutionary War, Benjamin Franklin also went. And Benjamin Franklin was an absolute rock star in Europe. He was famous. He was the, what's the word here? He was the hick from the wilderness that was brilliant, and they thought that was so wonderful. And he played it up too. He was a very smart man. He made sure he wore his beaver skin hat, and so he could look like the primitive he was. And he just had fun with it. John Adams, not so much. He was a little too uptight for France. Okay, very strong Protestant upbringing. Okay, but he was brilliant in his own right also. Okay, all of them contributed. And I really do think they would be ashamed of where we're at now as far as individuals. Okay, and I'm the world's worst about saying what other people should do and pointing the finger at other people and not holding myself accountable. I guess we're all guilty of that at times. But building the house here, it made me realize, okay, first of all, this isn't that complicated. All right, but there's certain basic fundamental things you have to understand when building a house. Okay, and in taking this on and seeing it come together, and yes, it's been taking forever. This year, 2024 for me, my year is going to be spent right here. Okay, but when I finish, I'm going to be proud of what I got here, and I'm not going to be in debt for the next 30 years paying a mortgage on this. Okay, and this was a huge confidence builder. Once you realize you can build a house, there's nothing you can't do with a house in your home. Okay, so I can only imagine how much confidence Thomas Jefferson gained just by designing and building Monticello. Okay, Benjamin Franklin, how much confidence did he gain in undertaking so many things, studying electricity, inventing musical instruments, you name it, he did it. U.S. ambassador to France. These are the men that created our government. I would like to say they were amateurs, but I mean, are there really any professionals at creating a government? It doesn't happen very often, so no, I don't think there are any professionals at it. they didn't let that stop them. They still stepped up and, hey, we're going to take this on. We're going to do the best we can, and I think they did pretty good. Well, now so many of us we rely on the experts. Okay, we need the news to tell us what to think and what to believe, and sadly we can't. Okay, great example. I'm not going to get political here. I'm trying to stay away from politics, but presidential debate. Okay, it was very obvious Joe Biden's suffering from old age, dementia. Okay, and I'm not making fun of him. I feel horrible for anybody that's going through that and their family. I've lost a lot of family members to that myself. Okay, my family members weren't president of the United States when they were going through it. He's president of this country. Okay, which it should be painfully obvious to anyone he's not running the country. Yeah, I'm sure he's making some decisions while he's lucid and so forth, but he's not running the country. I don't know who he is. Nobody does, or except for the people that's involved in his inner circle. Maybe it's being run by committee right now between his aides and the DNC and whoever. Okay, but the part that really bothered me about the debate was right afterwards when all of the mainstream news organizations were pointing out, he needs to be replaced. And keep in mind, all of the conservatives that really keep up with news, we've said he's not going to be the candidate 6 months, a year ago, right? Because we already knew he had dementia. We knew he had dementia when he was running for office in 2020. If you watched mainstream news media, they intentionally edited any video of Joe Biden to make sure they didn't show him calling it gaffes, any of the things he did that just made it obvious he's not qualified to be president anymore. Okay, I'm sure he was a very smart man at one time. Okay, well, those same news media organizations that have been intentionally covering for him for the past 4 years, now they're, oh, look, he's got dementia. Okay, how many of you still believe those news organizations? I've got friends that are really smart people that they'll say straight up, if it isn't mainstream news media, they don't listen to it, they don't believe it. They only believe mainstream news media. Okay, now we've got mainstream news media after the debate when the whole world just saw Joe Biden's got dementia. The whole world's seen it. Now they're coming up to you and saying, oh, he should probably need to be replaced. We can't believe he has dementia when just, they've been saying it every chance they got right up until the debate, having guests on their shows. Oh no, he's fully cognizant and he's still sharp as a tack and we're around him all the time and he's 100% there and he's on top of things. Okay, so those news media organizations were working overtime to convince you of how competent he was right up until the debate, when you saw with your own eyes that he's not competent. Okay, and if you didn't know he had dementia before the debate, you've just been watching mainstream news media. I mean, bottom line. Okay, so you've been misinformed for at least 4 years now. Okay, I'm not saying Trump's the answer. I'm not saying that at all. You can have whatever your political beliefs are, hey, more power to you. I just think you ought to at least know the truth. Okay, they haven't been telling the truth, and now it's just so painfully obvious. And what's sad is so many of you are still going to say, all right, I'm only going to listen to mainstream news media. Okay, you need to step out of your box and start using some independent thought here. Okay, not just with news media and the information you get, but with everything. Okay, how many of you automatically say, I can't do anything because, the experts said I shouldn't. The experts said I got to get this shot 3 years ago, so I'm going to go do it. The government said I should get this shot. The government said I need to do this. The government says we need to go with electric vehicles. The government says we need, climate change is a problem. The government says we need to do this and we need to do that. That's the problem right there, is the government said. You're an American, at least for any Americans watching this. The government's not supposed to tell us, we're supposed to tell the government. That's how this is supposed to work. We've gotten things backwards. Okay, and this started in the early 1900s with, I want to say, Woodrow Wilson. He really pushed, okay, we need the experts. Okay, well, after the last 3 or 4 years, we now know we can't trust the experts. Or at least those of us that aren't watching mainstream news media. Those of us that have been listening to the amateurs have been much better informed. Okay, now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of crazy out there on the not mainstream news media. Okay, I get it. But there's a lot of sincere people out there trying to find the truth. And that's really all any of us want. And for me, that's an ideal world, is where our government invests time and our money, because they're doing all of this with taxes, and they're just looking for information, verifying things and so forth. And okay, here's the facts, here's what we know thus far, here's the latest studies, this is what we think. We don't have that, and we haven't had that in years. The food pyramid. Okay, that's absolutely as corrupt as it can be. That was something started by the Department of Agriculture, that they were just trying to help out farmers growing grains. That's why you got, at the bottom, you've got eat all of the grains. Okay, bread, that should be, the basis of everything you eat. Except for it causes obesity and diabetes and bad health and all that goes with all of that. And look at our country now and all the problems we have with obesity and diabetes and so forth. Okay, we got to start thinking for ourselves, and we need to start doing for ourselves, just like this. Okay, I was apprehensive about starting such a big project. I mean, I've got a lot of money tied up in this. I didn't want to mess this up. Okay, now I knew I could get it done, I just didn't know how many years it might take. Fortunately, it's appearing to be just one. Okay, but I'm glad I did it, and I got a lot of confidence with this. Well, that's what happens when we do things for ourselves. We develop confidence. And not just confidence, but competence. Okay, we develop skills. We know how things work. We know how they go together, common sense, all that good stuff. Okay, well, I think we need a lot more of this, or at least I know I need a lot more of this for myself. I'm going to try my very best to quit saying what other people should do and just focus on what I should do. And what I should do is be doing more things like this myself. I wish I'd have done this 20 years ago. I really do. Instead, I was too busy fishing and hunting and having fun, and I treasure those memories. But I really do wish I'd have been doing this 20 years ago. And that isn't to say I wish I'd have been a carpenter. That's not what I mean at all. I wish I had done this just so I would have a better understanding of the houses I've lived in for the past 20 years and exactly how big of improvements I could have made on those houses myself just by having the confidence to take on those projects. And yeah, anyway. So yeah, for this 4th of July, I hope a lot of you put some thought into being independent thought. Don't worry about what the experts say. Listen to what the experts say, but don't take it as the gospel. Think for yourself. Okay, and then think, why are they showing me this? And this is something for the past couple of years, I've been paying more and more attention to. When I see something put out by mainstream news media, why are they showing me this? What are they trying to push here? Okay, 30, 40 years ago, it was, we are the world. And it was all about, and I didn't understand it at the time, but it was about globalism, and they were pushing globalism. Okay, why are they pushing globalism? That's what I want to know. And I think it's because there's a lot of very powerful people that want even more power. They don't want to be able to just control a nation or two or three. They want to be able to control the world. Okay, and they might have good intentions. I'm not just going to assume they're, evil villains from, whatever movie. Me personally, I think they need to, just go be quiet and live their own little happy life. And if they need meaning, they need to go look for God, not try to figure out how to control the world. Okay, that's how we get into situations like we just had over the past 3 or 4 years with governments trying real hard to see just how stupid a decisions they could make, and then trying to mandate things for us and stuff like that, and completely, here in America, just completely ignoring our Bill of Rights. Okay, and a lot of that's been struck down by the courts since, and the courts have said, y'all overstepped your authority, you can't do that, you can't prevent churches from meeting. That's guaranteed in the First Amendment. Okay, right to assembly. Okay, but we've gotten into a situation now where the government just does whatever it wants, and then later on it's courts step in and say, oh no, y'all can't do that, after they've done it. Okay, anyway, thought that was just something worth mentioning. And now it's just about time for me to set off some fireworks. Thankfully, the nanny state hasn't taken those away here where I live yet. God bless, and God bless America.